worst people you know in Hollywood?
That I worked with?
Or that you wouldn't want to work with again? If you don't have to comment on that.
$1 million, Faye Dunaway.
You see them as icons, legends, perfect faces on the silver screen. But what if that perfection was just a cover for unbelievable filth? Today, we're exposing the golden age stars with the most disgusting hygiene habits ever recorded. These weren't rumors. They were first-hand accounts from co-stars who had to endure their awful breath and body odor. And wait until you hear about number 3. His secret habits are the definition of beyond belief. You have to hear this. 2 icons, 1 awful smell. First on the list is the king of Hollywood himself, Clark Gable. On screen, he was the ultimate heartthrob. That smile made women all over the world swoon. But the thing nobody tells you is that his leading ladies weren't fainting from desire. They were fighting the urge to gag. You see, behind that famous mustache was a serious problem. By the young age of 32, Gable had a full set of dentures. This wasn't a choice. It was the result of a catastrophic gum infection that was so bad, he had to have nearly all of his teeth removed. What many overlooked is that this was the 1930s. Dental hygiene and denture care were nothing like they are today. Gable, to put it mildly, was not great at cleaning them. This created a problem, a big one. The resulting mouth odor was so toxic, it should have come with a hazard warning. Vivien Leigh, his co-star in Gone with the Wind, apparently dreaded their famous kissing scenes. She confessed it was an awful ordeal. But Loretta Young might have had it even worse on the set of Call of the Wild. Rumor has it she was physically ill after one kissing scene, telling an assistant that it was a terrible, terrible experience. One cameraman said filming Gable in a close-up was an adventure in itself. The studios knew all about it. MGM reportedly created a special Gable breath kit that was kept on set, filled with mouthwash, mints, and even nose plugs for the crew. None of it worked. His dentures, which were rarely cleaned well, trapped particles that created a stench that could strip wallpaper. As one insider put it, they called him a gentleman until they got close enough to smell the truth. The next time you watch his romantic scenes, just remember, you're watching his co-stars give Oscar-worthy performances just by staying conscious. But if Gable's problem was localized, our next star was a total body experience in filth. We're talking about Marlon Brando. Many people are crazy about Brando. He revolutionized acting with the method. But Brando seemed to believe that part of the method meant never, ever bathing. He didn't just occasionally skip a shower. He treated cleanliness like it had personally insulted him. He would routinely arrive on sets having not bathed for days, or even weeks, wearing clothes so ripe they could have qualified for their own zip code. One crew member on the Waterfront said Brando's costume smelled like low tide at a fish market during a garbage strike. But it gets so much worse. The thing nobody tells you is that he would deliberately sabotage his love scenes. He weaponized his own grime. On the set of Last Tango in Paris, he reportedly ate large amounts of stinky blue cheese and then refused to brush his teeth before filming intimate scenes with Maria Schneider. During the Missouri breaks, he wore the same pair of undergarments for the entire 3-month shoot. He was apparently proud of this and announced it at the wrap party. By the time he filmed Apocalypse Now in the jungle heat, Brando had, as director Francis Ford Coppola privately called him, evolved into a sentient swamp. His trailer reportedly required a special cleaning crew after he left. One set decorator confessed they had to burn the furniture. It was cheaper than trying to clean what he left behind. His stink, one grip said, had layers. First sweat, then rancid food, then something else entirely. But as bad as those two were, they were nothing compared to our number 3. You won't believe number 3. This is the one. The story that is truly, completely beyond belief. It's the tale of Howard Hughes. Hughes didn't start this way. In the 1930s and 40s, he was a dashing, handsome playboy. He was a brilliant aviator who set airspeed records, and a powerful producer who made blockbuster movies like Hell's Angels. He dated the most beautiful women in the world, from Katharine Hepburn to Ava Gardner. He had it all. But the thing nobody tells you is that Hughes's brilliant mind was also fighting a dark battle. He had a severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, and his main obsession was a crippling, paralyzing fear of germs. As he got older, this germophobia didn't just get worse. It consumed his entire life, and it twisted into the ultimate irony. Howard Hughes became so afraid of contamination that he stopped all personal hygiene. Completely. You see, in his mind, the water from the tap might have germs, the soap might be unclean, the razor might be contaminated. His solution? He concluded that total, absolute filth was safer than the risk of cleaning himself. He became a prisoner of his own mind, locking himself away in the penthouse suites of hotels he owned, like the Desert Inn in Las Vegas. He called these his germ-free zones. But what went on inside was, to put it mildly, a horror show. Attendants who were allowed in described conditions that sound like something from a frightening movie. Hughes would sit in a recliner for months at a time, often without any clothes on. He refused to cut his hair, which grew long and matted. He refused to cut his fingernails. For years. They grew into long, yellowed, curling talons that twisted in on his hands. He weighed less than 100 pounds. He developed bizarre rituals. He would only eat specific things like canned soup. He would use tissues to touch anything. The remote control, a spoon, a glass, and then drop the tissues on the floor. He would do this until the tissues piled up around him in what one horrified attendant called drifts of human decay. And the most stomach-turning detail of all, he stopped using the bathroom. Instead, he began storing his own urine in large mason jars and bottles. He would line them up, meticulously labeling each one. By the time he was moved from one location to another, there were sometimes hundreds of these bottles. The smell, it's unimaginable. It wasn't just sweat. It was the smell of a body and a life in total decay. When Hughes finally passed away in 1976 while being transported on a plane, the official cause was kidney failure. But the first responders who saw his body were reportedly so disturbed by his condition that some needed therapy. His transformation from a Hollywood icon to a real-life boogeyman is, without a doubt, the most beyond belief story of them all. Hughes was an extreme case, but other rebels proudly flaunted their own brand of grime. The king of cool's dirty secret. Not everyone who was dirty was a recluse. Some, like Steve McQueen, were right out in public. You see, McQueen was the king of cool. He was the rebel, the anti-hero. He loved two things: racing and motorcycles. And the thing is, he loved to smell like them too. McQueen's idea of getting ready for a scene was different. He would spend all morning working on his motorcycles or in his garage, getting covered in engine grease, transmission fluid, and dirt. Then, he'd just show up to set. No shower, no change of clothes. His pit stop special, as co-stars called it, was to wipe his armpits with a paper towel, splash on a little cologne to cover the grime, and declare himself camera ready. His co-stars, to put it mildly, did not agree. Faye Dunaway, his elegant partner in the Thomas Crown affair, reportedly dreaded their kissing scenes. She supposedly begged the director to get them over with in as few takes as possible. She later compared the experience to licking the floor of an auto repair shop. What many overlooked was the great irony. McQueen was fanatical about cleaning his machines. He would spend hours polishing the chrome on his motorcycles or detailing his famous 1968 Ford Mustang from Bullitt. His cars got more baths than he did. On the set of The Great Escape, his co-star James Garner reportedly joked that when McQueen took his boots off in their barracks scenes, the smell alone should have violated the Geneva Convention. Then there was a rebel from an earlier era, W.C. Fields. Fields wasn't just playing a heavy drinker on screen. He was a method actor decades before the term was popular. The only difference between the on-screen Fields and the off-screen Fields was that the real one smelled infinitely worse. Fields marinated himself in alcohol. His days started with martinis for breakfast. Not with breakfast, as breakfast. By midday, his body was sweating out pure gin. His breath, as one assistant director recalled, didn't just smell like alcohol. It smelled like alcohol that had been used to preserve other, smaller alcoholics. He also rarely, if ever, bathed. This created what one costume designer called a layered olfactory experience. The bottom notes were stale liquor, the middle notes were old sweat, and the top notes were just despair. His clothing absorbed so much alcohol that the wardrobe department joked they could have wrung out his suit jacket and served it as a cocktail at the wrap party. His hotel rooms became legendary disaster zones. Staff would draw straws to see who had to clean it. He didn't just leave a room, he fermented it. Maids described finding bottles hidden in every possible place: toilet tanks, light fixtures, even inside hollowed-out books. The famous director Gregory LaCava put it best: Fields doesn't age, he pickles. But it wasn't just the men. Some of Hollywood's biggest dames had secrets that were just as foul. Secrets of the silver screen goddesses. First up in this category is the one and only Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah didn't just break the rules, she drove a steamroller over them. Unlike other stars who tried to hide their habits, Bankhead was proud of her filth. She flaunted it. She famously announced, "Darling, I have an agreement with the dirt," and she meant every word of it. Stage managers from her Broadway shows reported that Bankhead would sometimes go for weeks without bathing. She created what one described as a miasma that followed her like a loyal but unwelcome pet. Her dressing rooms became known as the Swamp. One theater reportedly had to bring in a special cleaning service just to make the room usable again after her show closed. But her most notorious habit? She proudly refused to wear any undergarments. Ever. This became a huge problem on the set of Alfred Hitchcock's 1944 film, Lifeboat. The entire movie takes place in, well, a lifeboat. The actors were in very close quarters for weeks. Bankhead, true to form, wore no undergarments beneath her dress, and she had to climb a ladder in several scenes. The crew? Well, they got an eyeful and a noseful. The cameraman, Arthur Miller, reportedly begged Hitchcock to please make her wear something. Hitchcock, in his famous dry wit, supposedly replied, "I don't know if this is a matter for the costume department, makeup, or animal control." Next, we have the grande dame of drama, Bette Davis. Davis was a legend, a titan. She was also, to put it simply, a walking chimney. We're not talking about a social smoker. We are talking about 5 packs of cigarettes a day. That is 100 cigarettes, every single day. This wasn't a habit, it was a full-time job. And it created a toxic cloud that she lived in. Her co-stars found it challenging. Miriam Hopkins, who filmed Old Acquaintance with her, said Davis smelled like a burning library filled with wet ashtrays. Her costumes had to be decontaminated, not just cleaned. Her dressing rooms were so coated in nicotine that the walls were literally stained yellow. Makeup artists described working through a perpetual fog. Director William Wyler, after filming The Little Foxes, said that kissing Bette was like licking the inside of a crematorium. When a fire alarm once went off during the filming of All About Eve, The entire cast and crew filed outside. But Bet was missing. A production assistant ran back in and found her in her dressing room, still smoking. When he told her the building might be on fire, she reportedly exhaled a perfect smoke ring and said, "Darling, I am the fire." Finally, there was Ava Gardner. She was called the world's most beautiful animal. But the animal part might have been more accurate than anyone knew. Behind that stunning, perfect face, Gardner's hygiene habits were, to put it nicely, feral. Her biggest issue? Dental. She rarely, if ever, brushed her teeth. Makeup artists who worked on her films said they had a whole system. They'd hide mints on set, force her to use mouthwash between takes, and set up camera angles to keep her leading men upwind. One actor reportedly said kissing Ava was like tongue diving into yesterday's dinner. And instead of bathing regularly, Gardner preferred the layering method. She would just douse herself in expensive French perfume to cover the smell of old sweat and cigarettes. This created, as one director called it, olfactory warfare. It was a cloying, overpowering mix. Her husband, Frank Sinatra, was a famous neat freak. He reportedly installed multiple new showers in their home in a desperate, and failed, campaign to get her to bathe more. It makes you wonder, who are the secret slobs of today's Hollywood? Let us know your theories below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more secrets.